have to follow what the law says, and the law says Social Security retirement eligible. But that's really what was hammered out. There was really great conversation. There was a lot of concern, a lot of passion in the room. There's counties that have already taken this up and passed the measure. There are a bunch of counties that have said they're not gonna take it up and they're not gonna pass the measure because they fear that it's harmful to their county. So I think we have identified that this will be a good thing. There has been some opposition to us. I've gotten a few phone calls that says, shame on you for taking money away from the schools. And I say, shame on me for helping out seniors? I don't think so. I'm gonna do what it takes to help out our senior citizens in our community. So that's all I have.
All right, very good. I don't think I wanna make any more comments now. I will make some comments after the vote and then we'll move on, but I would.
I have
Okay,
a couple
yes,
questions.
yes, please.
These are for Mr. Fax, if I may.
Sure.
Mr. Fax, as you know, the law provides for two possible ways for this to be implemented. Would you remind me and those here what the law itself says about how this could be implemented?
Sure, so if no action occurs by anyone, then there is no property credit or property tax credit for eligible seniors. The two alternatives are that the county commission of a county can pass an order, which is what we're discussing here today, that implements the property tax credit. Or if the county commission chooses not to act, then it can be submitted to the voters by ballot. So the voters can vote on whether to approve this regardless of whether the county commission acts or not.
Okay, and if it were a matter of the voters countywide having that, and I think they have to do petitions to get that done. But if the voters countywide, if they did get that on the ballot, am I correct in saying there is specific language in the law that says what that will say?
Yeah, so the statute itself it's about one paragraph, and I can pull it up if we need to, but it's basically one paragraph that's submitted to the voters. Do you want to authorize this tax credit, yes or no?
And they would not have the right to do their petition with different language, am I correct?
Correct. They would have to use the language that's contained in the statute.
And then to move one step further, if it went to the voters and it was approved, who would work out the details of the implementation?
That's a very good question, and that's something that our legislature has not given us a ton of guidance on.
Mhm.
I mean, it would be left to the people who have to deal with it every day, your clerk, your collector, your assessor, the commission to a certain extent. Because there are, I mean, Commissioner Jackson's identified several unanswered questions
Right.
about how exactly this is to be implemented. So if it's left to the voters and it does pass by vote, I mean, you could use some of this in saying, we've already dealt with some of these issues, here's how we think it should be interpreted. It's just this is no longer an order.
Right. Okay, those were my questions. You answered them well. Thank you for that, Mr. Morris.
And Mr. Fax, so one of the things that we also talked about, and you kind of warned us of some of the dangers of allowing the people to vote. I mean, in most normal cases, I would think that would be a good thing to allow the people to vote. But because of this ambiguity of Senate Bill 190 and all the issues that have been created, certainly by passing this ordinance today, if we do that, and there's a potential, people need to understand, even if we didn't change it, there's a potential lawsuits to stop or block this. After we refine it, if we pass it today and we continue to refine it because of the legislative actions, there's still potential chances to have a lawsuit. But I think the chances are much less on both of them, as I heard up in Lake of the Ozarks at the board meeting that I attended, that if the people are going to put it on a ballot and we don't know how it's going to work out, and we don't know what the definition, how they're going to work it out, how these people are going to work it out, I still think that's why I lean toward taking a vote today, and I would entertain a motion.
Well, I had one other comment that just popped in my head. It's a concern, and I hope that our legislator here will take this back. Is tax revenue, how it's calculated, the tax credits. In the bill, it specifically states that, the assessment will count as revenue for all of the taxing districts, which could put them in harm's way with regards to Hancock Amendment, because it will say they're bringing in more than they actually are. And it would be nice if the state legislature would define that a little bit more clear. With that being said, I again thank you for your patience as we've navigated through this process. I know that it's taken longer than what you wanted to take, but I think we've brought forward a great order, and I move that we enact it.
Okay, we've got a motion to enact our Christian County order that was read to the people. Is there a second?
I will defer to you and Mr. Morse for the second, and then I'd like to comment one more time.
Sure, I will second it.
Okay, just to say, the phrase taxation without representation always resonates with me, and I think that implies some sense of tax freezes without representation. This, as I've already said to these gentlemen, I'll say to all of you, this is going to pass. My mathematics are still good here. And when it does, I'll give it 100% of my effort. I appreciate these two men. They're good thinkers, and they've spent an extraordinary amount of time on it, and I'm very much aware that they could be right and I could be wrong. That's why it's good that there's three of us. But I still believe that the best approach, because I think this will, over time, impact every citizen of Christian County, not just those of my age at that point. So that's all I wanted to say, and I know you've got a motion and a second on the floor, sir.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. We're gonna do a roll call vote, or we?
Okay.
Yeah, let's do a roll call vote. Miss Maddie?
Western Commissioner Posey Blue,
No.
Eastern Commissioner Bradley Jackson,
With great enthusiasm, yes.
Presiding Commissioner Lynn Morris.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much. That passes 2-1, and I'll just make a few comments right now, and then we're gonna move on. Again, like what Commissioner Jackson says, I really appreciate this journey that we've taken so far. I mean, we've started on this in August after the governor signed this bill into law, Senate Bill 190 into law. And while, if you're looking at maybe if you play cards and you get bad hands sometimes you can still win with a bad hand. I think that we got a very extremely bad hand to try to figure out how we could make this work in our county. There's two things that's always been on my mind, and I think it is with the other commissioners. Help the seniors who have paid taxes for anywhere from 20 to 60 years of property taxes. Help them, because they're continuing, as long as they live, they will continue to pay property taxes. Also, protect the taxing entities. I once was on the school board. I still got kids in school. We know how valuable our public schools are. There's nothing that I believe that our commissioners want to do to harm our schools. Therefore, we've done a lot of study, and I believe that we are only halfway through this journey, because as Commissioner Jackson, I'm glad you pointed out that last thing. That's another flaw. In there. This attorneys up there at Lake Ozark said there was over 30 flaws in that. I'm not smart enough to figure out all 30 flaws, okay? But I thought that was interesting that they said that, okay? And we're gonna make sure we protect the taxing entities as much as possible and continue to protect our seniors. And that's why I felt strongly, but I have listened to everybody. I appreciate, I've had hundreds. I wish I had really counted how many people that I've talked to at meetings that I've gone out and talked to. Hundreds and hundreds, probably over 1,000 people. I've never seen so much attention spent on one issue. This extremely important issue. You're right, Commissioner Blue, you're right. This will affect our county from years to come. However, my own personal opinion is I think it's going to affect our county in a very positive way. And we will continue to work hard to protect every citizen in this county. And I just want to thank our county officials, I mean, I'm telling you what, and especially our county attorney, while you don't agree with everything that the state attorney and our association, that's what's always a little bit confusing to me is how different attorneys, these guys are smart in what they know. Our county attorney also serves Greene County, and these guys are especially smart in county government. What's confusing to us lay people sometimes is when 3 or 4 attorneys get together and all 3 or 4 of them interpret things differently. And that makes it hard. That makes it hard when the interpretations are different. But I think at the end, if the legislature does their work, we will come up with a really good order. The beauty of this order, and that was Mr. Fax's idea, is we can change this order. After today, we can change this order. Every time we find something to make it better, we'll change it, okay? So I just congratulate everybody that was here working on this, but we spent a lot of hours in meetings and things like that.